Hello everyone, this is the 11th Virtual Roundtable web conference, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to everybody who is present here today. Thank you for coming to this year's CLIL Symposium at the Virtual Roundtable web conference. I would like to take a moment to introduce our two presenters, two very dynamic ladies from Italy. First of all, in the order in which they're going to present, I would like to say a few words about Letizia Cinganotto. Hello, Letizia, welcome. Letizia is a full-time researcher at INDIRE, which is the National Institute for Documentation. Innovation and Educational Research in Italy. She holds a PhD in synchronic, diachronic, and applied linguistics, and has far-reaching experience in continuous professional development for teachers and head teachers. Letizia is a member of different working groups and scientific committees on CLIL and languages, both at national and international level, at the Italian Ministry of Education, European Commission, OCSC, the Council of Europe, ECML. And she has presented papers at national and international conferences and published articles and chapters in peer-reviewed journals, and recently 3 volumes on CLIL. Letizia is a member of ECML Pluriliteracy Consultancy Team. And our second speaker is Daniela Cucurulo, who is an adjunct professor of English and of didactics and multimedia teaching at the University of Naples, a school teacher of English, a teacher trainer, an e-tutor, forum moderator, and author of digital content. Daniela is engaged in research on teaching English as a second language through multimedia and MALU. She has presented papers at national and international conferences and is the author of essays on didactics and English literature, reviews, and translations. Daniela has planned, coordinated, and taught CLIL courses at international, national, and local levels. She is a TESOL Italy second vice president. So welcome, ladies. Over to you. We are ready to listen to what you have prepared for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena, and thank you, Eike, for this wonderful opportunity. It's always wonderful to meet you, even if virtually. So thank you for this great opportunity. So we're talking about CLIL, which is our passion. Daniela and I share this passion, been sharing this passion for a long time. But in particular, we're going to talk about, of course, teaching CLIL online in this during this COVID-19 emergency that is particularly serious in Italy. So just a few words about CLIL. Well, I know that you're familiar with CLIL. Just to show you the CLIL essentials, which are summarized in this poster, which is the output of a European project, one of the first, and is really, really effective because all the main aspects of CLIL are highlighted here. So CLIL's content language integrated learning is a dual-focused approach. It's a learner-centered approach, fostering learning autonomy, fostering critical thinking. So all the different cognitive skills and processes focuses on the, of course, integration of communication and content with the famous 4 C's, so content, communication, culture, and cognition, is a very inclusive and democratic approach, which has been a compulsory in Italy since 2010, and is a very dynamic approach involving a lot of innovative teaching strategies and technique, which are all, of course, learner-centered. A special focus on academic language. So CLIL enhances this switch, let's say, from BICS to CALPS, so as Cummings says, so from basic interpersonal communicative skills, which is just the skills we use for communicating in our daily lives, into CALP, which is cognitive academic language proficiency, so the language that we need to talk about academic content that is about subject, about any scientific or humanistic content. And this is particularly effective in Italy, even if we have a lot of challenges. We have some familiar faces, friends, expert in CLIL as well, and they know how demanding it can be to sort all the different challenges, different problems that we have in collaborating, for example, between the language teacher and the CLIL, the subject teacher, because the subject teacher in Italy is the real CLIL teacher. But we have, the ministry encourages the CLIL team, which is collaboration, of course, among the different roles, the different professionals in a school working with the subject and languages. So these are just some of the main features of CLIL. Just to remind you that CLIL has been recommended by the Council recommendation for a comprehensive approach to the teaching and learning of languages in 2019, where CLIL in Italy is highlighted as a case of best practice, because we we adopted this inclusive and democratic approach. First of all, it's compulsory in all upper secondary schools, and also all students in those particular classes, which is the last year in upper secondary school commonly. While, for example, in some countries, CLIL is delivered only to students with a particular level of competence in the foreign language, so they need to pass a test before. While in Italy, we have this sort of democratic and inclusive approach. So we have a lot of challenges, but we've been appreciated by the European Commission and by the Council of Europe in this recommendation, because we've been brave in adopting it as mandatory. So now let's go into the details in this particular situation. So how to teach CLIL and how to teach in general, and how to learn. So teaching and learning remotely. We during this pandemic, we are learning a lot. We are facing a lot of challenges, but we are also learning a lot, and we hope to gain from these lessons learned in order to reshape our future education, our future schools after this emergency. We were saying that in Italy, schools are still closed and won't open for the school year, is just over. And in September, a committee at the ministry is still studying possible ways on how to restart reopening schools with possible blended solutions or other possible solutions, designed to bring our students in the best situation of safety. So we are learning a lot. We are learning that, for example, as this quotation says, the web is enabling us to rediscover what we've always known about being human. We are connected creators in a connected world about which we care passionately. So we have discovered how passionate we are, and the web is just now the only way to communicate, to learn, so we have this social distancing that David Crystal in IATA online conference recently criticized, saying that it's not social distancing, but it's only physical distancing, because the social, we are human, we are passionate, we need to be close, we need to be in touch, and that's what we do through the internet, through social media, social network. which is the only way that we have now to communicate. And of course, is the only channel to reach our students. And that's why the affective side, the empathy, all this social emotional learning should come first for our students in this particular period of emergency. This is an article on The Guardian just recently talking about us, Italian lessons, and talking about DAD, which is the new acronym about didattica a distanza, so remote teaching, teaching and learning. So this is one of the lessons learned that is mentioned here in the in this article. The fact that in some cases teachers can learn from their students, because I have an exceptional digital consultant, says a teacher. So we know that students are in some cases are better than we are in technical skills and so on. So this is one of our lessons learned. We can enhance our students' skills, and maybe in this case, well, of course, not all teachers are doing that, because we have also a lot of problems, of course, and Italy is so based and so different situations, of course. But this is one of the lessons learned that we are trying to collect from this situation. This is another one. So now mobile is, of course, not only allowed, but is in some cases the only way. In some cases, students maybe don't have a computer, laptop, so they use their parents' mobile to get in touch with the teachers and with friends. So this is another important highlight. In the past, well, in traditional schooling, mobile, of course, was not allowed, or maybe, well, there's some situations with the bring your own device and different recommendations from the ministry, but the general situation was that mobile was not encouraged during the lessons, but now it's just the opposite. And of course, challenges are so many. These are just this big net just some examples of problems, and trying to retune ourselves so teachers and students in this new learning environment. Is everything new for us, for the students. We're not prepared for, of course, is unprecedented times for all of us. But we can say that our teachers are really brave, and they are doing their best to cope with all these challenges and learn something new, learn new softwares, new applications, new solutions to first of all get in touch with their students. What we are discovering is that the affective, the cognitive, emotional sphere is so important. So it comes first before the learning. So the encouragement and the sort of company and empathy is really important. So the teacher, our teachers are learning among all the lessons learned, all the lessons that they're learning, there's 5 awareness principles. So first of all, they are getting more and more aware of their teaching strategies, of the learning process, on how everything works. And so if situations were quite weak, now of course it's even worse. If they are good, of course now they are even better. And so everyone is getting more aware of the self as a teacher, of the teaching process, of the learning process, and as I was saying, the awareness of interaction, the awareness of empathic attitude, and this worm cognition, as one of our professors, expert in Italy, Daniele Lucangeli says. Worm cognition means that we have this cognitive processes, and so learning processes that won't happen if there's no emotion, if there's no involvement, engagement. They are strictly connected. And awareness of the context, of course. I'm going to mention some of the resources that our teachers, that we are suggesting our teachers in Italy, because fortunately in this period of emergency, we really have from the internet. On the internet, we have so many resources, websites, and free content and suggestion courses, webinars, everything. So many initiatives, and this is something, of course, that our teachers are really glad to use and to train and to adopt into their classes. The ECML, for example, the European Centre for Modern Languages of the Council of Europe, I'm part of a project, Pluraliteracy, part of the consultancy team of project by the ECML. They've collected all the resources coming from the different projects. The European Centre for Modern Languages deals with a lot of projects on plurilingualism, on CLIL, on languages in general, and they have collected all the resources of different projects and made this sort of treasure chest of resources for learners, parents, and teachers, which is really useful. Also, the three different perspectives, because we know that our parents, our families are coping with this problem. They have their children and home, and sometimes they don't need how to have them. So this could be a way to somehow get in touch with the teachers and try to help their kids. Also, the ECML on the ECML website, there's this wonderful inventory of ICT tools and open educational resources, which is really wonderful for a teacher who wants to work with in distance, remote teaching in languages and CLIL, because according to the aims, the learning outcomes, and the expected aims, the expected outcomes and the learning aims, they can look for, through specific filters, they can look for the specific tool that could be useful for that particular aim. That could be, listening, speaking, writing, or maybe interaction, or more than one together. And then the system will give you the proper or the recommended tool or educational resources that would fit that particular aim. Also, the Harvard, and this is ICAM, a suggestion from IATA, Harvard, I found out this wonderful section that is run by Harvard University with a lot of online resources and also webinars. I attended a couple of webinars, really interesting, on different suggestions on how to plan and how to implement activities online. It's a really interesting and useful website. We at Indire, we are doing in my institute is the Educational Research Institute of the Ministry of Education, and we always deal with innovation. We try to help our students, our teachers and teachers in spreading innovation and in different ideas, in different time and learning environments and teaching techniques. Now we are supporting teachers in remote teaching and learning, in planning and implementing and assessing activities online. So on our website we have a tutorial with different resources, different links, suggestions, and so on. We have also a lot of webinars run by experts, run by teachers themselves who want to share their experiences and expertise with their colleagues. So it's a sort of community of practice, community of teachers who can learn from each other and share experiences. It's something, as I said, new for everybody. So it's a sort of common support and help. that we are trying to foster. So what are we sharing? Are we learning through our teachers? I personally hosted a lot of webinars run by teachers, and a lot of them were teachers of English, teachers of Spanish or other foreign languages, and CLIL teachers sharing their experiences and what they've been doing with their students during this emergency. So I'm going to share with you some of the examples, some of practices that I've been collecting through all the different webinars, just to give you an idea of what's going on how our teachers, are organizing their activities with CLIL and language learning. A couple of tools which are so I find particularly helpful in this pandemic, where we've been for more than 2 months in lockdown, so couldn't go out. The only thing that we can do is virtual tour, and we have Radio Garden, which I love. Is that a tool where you is Radio Garden, so you just Google Radio Garden and you have this globe popping up. You can click on the green dots all over the globe, and you will hear the radio broadcast in that particular place. So it's a way to travel to the same time to foster language competences in the place that you've chosen, and so it's a very also dynamic and engaging activity. And the same with Google Tour Creator, that can allow you to travel, to organize your virtual tour from one place to another, and live this experience in 3D. Sorry. So some other experiences that I'm sharing from our webinars is the change in the organization of the learning space, the learning environment. So in Italy, we had a lot of hybrid classes before pandemic, of course. So using the cloud, the traditional face-to-face lessons, but blending them with online, with virtual, with the cloud, with augmented reality, and so on. Of course, now we had to reshape the learning environment, and also teachers are giving suggestions on how they are organizing, for example, the online live lessons, because it's not the same as the physical presence, face-to-face lessons. It's hard for especially for young children to stay 5 or 6 hours in front of a computer. Is impossible. So they are sharing their experiences on how they are rescheduling the lessons, and how trying also to mix the synchronous and asynchronous activity, which was the starting point. So how to organize the activities, the lessons, trying to balance synchronous live meetings with a synchronous platform, with asynchronous, with activities. A lot of our teachers are using the electronic register, which is the official tool of the school, and they use it for assignments and other activities. But the real challenge is how to balance these two dimensions. So some examples of our teachers, our CLIL teachers, sharing their tools. Tingling, Story Jumper, Book Creator. These are 2 teachers working with CLIL in English, working with images with Tingling, Story Jumper and Book Creator, to have their kids creating animated book, animated stories, so that they could be also also independent in the use of technology and share their products. So this is something important to, to enhance the protagonism of their students. Some other example, I'm going quickly, podcast, for example. A lot of teachers are using podcast for CLIL, for language learning, of course, and the school web radio. So they work in particular on the listening and speaking skills, and also video, because in particular these teachers also created episodes of podcasts, but their students' podcasts, but also videos. So it's another solution. Other example is another teacher working with these three different solutions. So Vajura, which is the electronic register, the official register of the school, and then Padlet and TED-Ed. Padlet, she's using it as a dashboard for writing, for here you have some examples on Shakespeare, and also for writing real newspaper, magazines, or sort of, writing assignments to be then changed into PDF, and have the idea that students are working on tangible output, also very attractive from the visual point of view. And then TED-Ed. TED-Ed is, in particular, I found these activities on TED-Ed organized by this teacher really, really effective. TED-Ed is a wonderful repository of clear lesson on any topic you can look for, and it's also multilingual, so you can choose your language, you can choose the topic, and you can then organize a real learning pathway, watch things, dig deeper, discuss. So it's a real a complete learning pathway that you can organize with your students, and it's a wonderful resource for a CLIL teacher and language teacher, because it really provides authentic material for authentic tasks. And this I attended during the IATA that IATA was moderating, the IATA online conference, this wonderful seminar by Alex Warren on teaching TED online. And I really found out how powerful this tool may be in organizing, in flipping the classroom, flipping the classroom during this emergency, during this period of distance learning. Then other teachers are using a lot of debates with the students. Debate is one of the teaching techniques that is particularly used for CLIL in Italy, and is becoming more and more popular in Italian. Now this week we're hosting the National Debate Olympiad in Italian, but a lot of teachers use debate also for CLIL in a foreign language, and they're doing it orally when they meet in a live session, synchronous session, but there are specific web tools like Chialo and eDebate or TriCider that can allow students to debate in writing. So they can choose a debate that has been launched, they can or launch new debates, and then they can write their their opinions. They need to prove to give evidence of what they are saying, if they are in favor or against a motion launched by the teacher or maybe by someone else on the net. And so they can discuss, but in writing. So it's a way to foster writing skills. There are also the judge, the referee that are at the end of each debate, they reward the best debater and so on. I'm going to the end. Penpal Schools is a very common platform that is used by a lot of teachers, because it allows to create work on projects on different themes, and students from different parts of the world, they can cooperate, and and also the parents, you see, the parents can enter and follow their especially with young kids. One of the last examples is Cristiana Pivetta, that I can know as well. She's working a lot with immersive learning, immersive environments, and this is at Mondo, which is our educational immersive world that we have at Indire. You see here the immersive classroom that Cristiana has created to bring students and with their avatar, and so have lessons there. One last mention of this European project where I'm involved in with as CLIL, which is our online university that is CLIL for STEM. It can be also useful for teachers, because we are building, we are creating with Limerick Institute of Technology a lot of videos on CLIL for STEM. So it could be, it's in progress, because it's now the first year. But there are a lot of videos now that could be useful, that a lot of our teachers are using for CLIL in STEM. Just two upcoming events that I would like to mention that could be interesting for all teachers here, is webinar that is going to take place in English on our website. It is the news on Indire website is in Italian, both in Italian and in English, but the webinar is going to be in English, run by the European Commission, giving an overview of the pandemic, of education in the different countries, different European countries during this emergency. So you can, it's free, of course, so anyone, it's going to be in English, so anyone can, but you need to register. There's the link here, and if you surf our Indire website, you can easily register. And just one very last thing is a questionnaire that we are going to launch with European Commission on language learning, linked to the latest European recommendation, Council recommendation on languages, and also with some questions on remote teaching and learning of languages and CLIL. Just my last message, that is not mine, but I liked it so much, which is this, just this lessons learned, that we are rushing to return to normal, but we need to, and that's what we are doing, as I would say, try to consider which part of normal are worth rushing back to. So we want to bring to our future these lessons learned from this emergency situation. Thank you so much. I leave the floor to Daniela.